Hey lovies, welcome back to another recipe. And on today's recipe, I'm going to be sharing this mouth-watering beef and corned beef meat pie with you guys. And I'm going to be sharing this recipe in two ways, so just stay tuned as I take you through the preparation. So guys, let's start by making our dough for the meat pies, and I'm going to be using 4 cups of flour to make my dough. So all the list and measurements of the ingredients used here will be on the description box, and I'll also pin them on the comment section. So into my 4 cups of flour, I'll add in 1 teaspoon baking powder, a pinch of salt, 1 tablespoon sugar, and I'll mix this up together. So after mixing, I'll go ahead and chop the butter into little pieces and add this into the flour. The reason for cutting your butter is just to make it easy for you to mix it with the flour. So right now I'm going to be mixing this into the flour until it comes out like a breadcrumbs, which you are going to be seeing right now. So this is how you want it to look like. So I'll go ahead now and start adding in my cold water. I'm just going to use the cold water to mix this up. The reason for using cold water here is just to make the butter not to melt, just to like keep it like cold and strong, because you don't want your butter to melt, so you don't want to overwork the dough. You just want to carefully mix it until it forms into a dough. You're not going to be kneading the dough right here. So guys, right now I'll pour it into my work surface, and I'll just use my hand to mix them all together so it will form into a dough, but I'm not going to be kneading it. So guys, if you're making your meat pies and you don't have a fridge where you're going to be saving your dough, I would advise that you make your filling before making the dough. So for those that doesn't have light or fridge to save their dough, we're going to be making our filling before making this meat pie dough. So I'll wrap the dough with my cling film, and I'll put this in the fridge to rest while I prep the filling for the meat pies. So for this meat pie filling, I'm going to be using beef and corned beef, which the corned beef is just going to transfer the meat pie for you. I bet you want to try this. And also I'm going to be adding just a little bit of green peas. It's optional, but I tell you, you're going to love it if you add it. And right here are my spices, which I'm going to use to spice up my meat pie fillings. And over here I have my thickener, which I'm going to be adding some water to it. So to start, I'll start prepping my carrots, which are already washed, and I'll just go ahead and chop them into tiny bits. So after chopping the carrots, I'll go ahead and chop my already washed potatoes. So I'm using Irish potato right here. So guys, thank you very much for clicking on this video. If it's your first time here, you're welcome to Lydia Isaac TV. My name is Lydia, and I hope you do find this recipe helpful. If you do, please don't forget to click on that red subscribe button and click on the bell icon that goes with it, so you will never miss any uploads from this channel. And also, please do help me to give this video a big thumbs up, as it will be very helpful to this recipe. So right now I'll go ahead and chop the onion. And I'll also go ahead and chop the spring onion. If you don't have spring onion, no worries, just stick with your normal onion. And I'll go ahead and add in just 1 Scotch bonnet pepper, as this is just going to give your meat pies that nice taste. So I'll go ahead right now and use my food processor to grind my beef. I'm not going to allow it to be very smooth because I just want the beef to look as if it was chopped with my knife. So if you don't have a food processor, you can definitely chop your beef into tiny bits with your knife. So right now I will start prepping my meat pie fillings, which I will add in just a tablespoon of oil into my pot just to steam my onion. So I'll put the onion into the oil and allow it to cook for about 2 minutes to just like make it soften up. And I'll go ahead and add my ground beef. So I will use my spoon to help this to dissolve properly into the pot and allow it to cook until the color changes into this color that you're seeing right here. And I will add in a pinch of salt and also some garlic powder. I'll also add in just a very little amount of curry powder. I'll add in a little bit of aromat, which is my seasoned powder. And I'll add my scotch bonnet pepper, spring onion, and my green peas, which is optional as I said earlier. So I'll go ahead and add the carrots and the Irish potatoes. So guys, just tell me if you don't like how this pot just looks so beautiful and nice. So I'll add in the corned beef. I will stir this up together and add in water to cover it up. So guys, at this moment I will cover it and allow it to cook for about 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes I'll go ahead and dissolve my cornstarch flour with some water to add as a thickener to thicken this up. If you don't have cornstarch flour, you can definitely go ahead and use 2 tablespoons of the same flour you use in making your meat pie dough. Mix it up with some water and add this into your meat pie filling. This is just going to add up as a thickener to bind the meat pie fillings together. So guys, at this point I will cover it up and allow it to cook for 4 minutes more, and my meat pie filling is ready. So right now I'll start making my meat pie. So I'll just get the dough off the fridge and sprinkle some flour into my work surface. So I'll use my rolling pin to roll out the dough, and I'm going to be using a round circle plate to cut out the dough. So after cutting the dough, I will set the extras aside, which I'm also going to be rolling out to make more meat pies. So guys, do check me out on my Instagram page at Lydia Isaac TV, on my Facebook page also at Lydia Isaac TV. So when I'm done, I'll go ahead and add a tablespoon and a half into my meat pie dough, and I'll flip this and cover it up and use my hand to seal it properly. So you want to make sure that you seal your meat pies properly so it doesn't get burst in the oven and all the meat pie fillings will just splash on your baking tray. So after sealing with my hands, I'll go ahead and use my fork to seal this up totally. So I'll just go ahead and use the fork to press down on the meat pie dough to seal it up. So guys, that's it. That's our meat pie done. At this moment, I'm already preheating my oven on 190 degrees. So guys, right now I'll get my baking tray and line my parchment sheet and transfer all my meat pies into it. And I'll get my egg, which I'm going to be using as to glaze the meat pie. So I'll just whisk the egg with just a tablespoon of milk, and I will use my brush to brush this into the meat pies. So after brushing the egg wash into the meat pies, I will transfer into the oven, into the preheated oven, and bake on 190 degrees for 35 minutes. "35 minutes later, my meat pies are ready. I will get it off the oven and allow it to cool down. So right now, I'm going to be sharing another method of baking your meat pies. So I'll use the same process. I'll roll out my dough, and right now I'm going to be using a meat pie cutter to cut my meat pies. And after cutting, I'll go ahead and roll it out more so it will cover up the meat pie cutter. I'll add in my filling. And I'll cover this up to seal it properly. So you want to press on it so it will seal up properly and take off all the excess dough. So there you go. So for this one, I'm going to be using my air fryer to bake this meat pie. So I will get my air fryer and I will line my parchment sheet on the air fryer. This is one of the best and quickest method I use in making my meat pies. So I will just lay my meat pie into my air fryer. My air fryer is a very little size, so it contains just only 5 meat pies, which is not bad. And I'll cover it up and put it on 190 degrees, which you don't need to preheat. So you just put it, and in 15 minutes I tell you your meat pies is ready, which only just take me just 12 minutes. So this was 12 minutes later. My meat pies are ready. You can see they are well baked. So if you don't have a fryer and you don't have oven, I have the no oven meat pie recipe on my channel. I'll put the link on the description box. Do check it out. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you do find this recipe helpful. Till I see you on my next video, do have a beautiful day. Bye bye.